Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about cover letters, right? A lot of you guys have been asking me, Botlhale, please do a video about cover letters. We don't know how to put it together, how to structure it. So I'm going to take you guys through that in this video. We're going to really go through a simple structure. We're going to go through the information that you need to put in there and what the importance is, so that as you're putting it together, you know exactly what the aim of the cover letter actually is. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Botlhale. I'm a young talent specialist, really using this platform to give a lot of graduates and young professionals information around how to stand out and how to get corporate ready. So today's video, as I said, we're speaking about cover letters, right? So as most of you know, when you're applying for any particular role, you need to put together your CV. Sometimes they ask for your matric certificate and your academic transcript, but a lot of companies ask for cover letters, right? And I know that most of you are trying to think, what goes into a cover letter as opposed to what's on my CV? What is the purpose of a cover letter? So I'm going to take you guys through that in 3 different phases. So hang in there all the way up until the end so that you know how to best put it together. Purpose of a cover letter, right? I want you to think of it as you are presenting yourself to the company, you're selling yourself to the company and saying to them why it is that you are the perfect person for that particular position, right? So a company's gone out and said, listen, we've got a need, we need to hire for this particular position, and you are basically using your cover letter to state why you. The difference between a CV and a cover letter is that the cover letter needs to be a lot more engaging. It needs to be a lot more personable, right? So the CV really just gives core details that people want to know. It's a lot more formal. Whereas your cover letter actually has to be engaging. They need to get a sense of your personality through the cover letter that you put together. Before you start putting together the cover letter, you need to make sure that you know as much information about the company as possible, right? So you need to research about the company, but also understand the job spec inside out, so that as you construct it, the type of language that you use and the way in which you construct it is really addressing the need that the company has. As you put together your cover letter, I think the best length for a cover letter is about 3/4 of a page, right? So don't write 2 pages of a cover letter. Really keep it short and succinct. What I want you to also be mindful of is, as you structure your cover letter, it's important for you to know what goes first and how do you then cascade it down from there. So let's talk about the format. So it's important that as you put together a cover letter, you make sure that you've got your date, you've got the name of the hiring manager, you've got the address of the company that you are applying to. Then you start it off by saying, Dear Mrs. or Mr., whoever their name is. If you don't know their name, instead of writing to whom it may concern, rather put together something that says, Dear Hiring Manager. But if you do know their names, then rather address it to the actual hiring manager. As you think through the format of the actual content in your cover letter, make sure that you kind of split it up into 3 different paragraphs. I'm going to talk you through what's important to focus in each of those paragraphs. As you start this paragraph, these are some of the key things that you should be mentioning. One of the key things to mention is how you found the position and why you wanted to apply for it. It's important for you to be able to articulate this so someone sees that you've applied your mind to why it is you are applying for this particular role. Another key thing to mention is what interests you most about the company and why are you passionate about that in particular. So this is where it's important for you to do research on the company, right? Identify 1 or 2 things that you love about the company and make sure that you can articulate it in at least a sentence to say, this is what I love about the company and this is why I'm passionate about that very thing. Highlighting the most interesting feature of the company, this is going to grab a recruiter's attention because it shows that you've customized this cover letter for the role that you're applying to. Many people spend a lot of time just applying to random companies and using a very generic letter. And so obviously in the first paragraph, it's not speaking to a key feature of the company and showing how this is something you're passionate about. So obviously it won't connect, right? Because as a recruiter, when I go through it, I want to see that you've applied your mind as to why you want this particular role. So an additional feature that you can add to your first paragraph is that if you know anyone in the company that is a mutual connection of yours, It's a great place to mention that you've heard such amazing things about the company through a friend of yours, through a cousin of yours, through a relative, whoever it is that you know in the company. It's a great place to kind of put that there because it tells the recruiter that you have some inside information around the company, and therefore you understand why you'd be best suited to the actual company. As you start your next paragraph, be mindful that this is where you create engagement, right? So this is where you start articulating, what are you going to bring to the company? What is your value proposition? If you've taken the time to understand the company, the job spec, and where your skills lie, this is where you put it together in that particular paragraph. So this is where you'll articulate the problem that you can help the company solve, and what are some of the skills and talents that you are bringing to the table in order to solve this problem. And so in this section, outside of just highlighting what some of your key skills are, this is a great opportunity to also highlight what some of your accomplishments have been as well, right? So this is where you give an example of what you've done recently to substantiate some of the skills that you've mentioned that you have. How have you used those skills to benefit the society you're in, to benefit the company that you are working for, and why this would be important for this particular role that you are applying for. Once you've highlighted what your value proposition is and why this is important for the company, in your very final paragraph, you need to include a call to action. By call to action, you basically saying to the hiring manager, please refer back to my CV for further information about my accomplishments, my skills, my experience to date. This is where you also can add some of your contact details. You can let them know when you're available, and you just finish off that paragraph by letting them know how excited you are about potentially hearing back from them. Guys, that's how you'd structure a cover letter, and those are some of the elements that you need to be able to include in there. Just wanted to pause there and show you guys what a template of a cover letter looks like, just so that you have a sense of what I'm talking about. So what you'll see here is that the cover letter itself is quite a formal letter. There's no pictures, no photos on here. This is really something that is going to be addressed formally to the hiring manager to give them a better sense of you. So for those of you that have seen my CV template video, this is something that you can refer back to, because the information that's in my CV template is exactly the same information that I've put in this cover letter, and it gives you a better sense as to what the difference is between the CV and the cover letter, right? What you'll find on the cover letter is obviously the name, the date, the name of the hiring manager, and if you don't know their name, then just put hiring manager, the name of the company you're applying to, and their address. And then after that, you go straight into the detail of the actual cover letter, where you are addressing in the first paragraph who you are, giving them a sense of how you found out about the position and why you're interested in it, and highlighting a key feature of the company. So in the second paragraph, this is where you speak about your value proposition, right? This is where you start creating engagement. And here, what I want you to see is a sense of your skills, your achievements, and at least one or two examples that give me a sense of how you've used your skill for particular roles that you have worked in. Finally, in the last section, this is where you have your call to action, right? So you're either referring them back to your CV for further detail, or you're giving them your contact details to highlight to them that you're keen to hear from them and you're available for a call so that they can contact you directly. So this is exactly the type of letter that we are looking for. You're welcome to go through it in detail in your own time, but I just thought to give you a sense so that you have a better idea of what a cover letter should look like. So there are two key advantages about having a cover letter. It really helps you prepare your career story. When you're invited through for an interview and they say to you, tell me about yourself, this is the basic structure in which you would go about telling someone about yourself, about your career, about your skills. It's a great way for you to already be prepared for that particular question. The second advantage of having a really great cover letter is that you can use that if you're trying to introduce yourself to someone via email or LinkedIn, right? So you use parts of your cover letter depending on how you want to introduce yourself, and you can construct an email to let someone know who you are, what your interests are, and why you'd be great for their particular organization. So guys, that's the video for today. I really hope that it helps a lot of you who have been struggling to put together your cover letter. Mention in the comments below what it is you've actually struggled with putting together the cover letter. And I really hope that this video has addressed some of those needs and that you are now ready to put together a cover letter that's really going to grab attention and really going to make you stand out as a candidate.